look at that. Just when people were starting to count Tesla stock out yet again, it's up 2.5% today. So what's going on? What is all of your breaking news? And importantly, what do you need to know? There is some good news for Tesla specifically today, but I can also say 10-year treasury yields are down about 2 basis points, causing small caps and interest rate sensitive stocks to outperform today, like the Russell that is up 0.57%. You also have Roaring Kitty that made a post presumably about GameStop, and GameStop is up 60% today, fueling some of this risk on behavior. You are also heading into a speech by Jerome Powell coming tomorrow morning, as well as CPI on Wednesday, and some people may be positioning for this. But don't be confused, because it's not all bullish today. The VIX is up 6.5%. That's a pretty big up day for the VIX. So there is definitely some put positioning out in the markets today. The VIX monitors calls and puts on the S&P 500. So when the VIX is low or when it's falling, that means there's more calls than puts being bought on the S&P. If the VIX is rising, that means there's more puts being bought than calls. So even though stocks are in the green today, there's a lot of puts being bought under the surface. Some of this extra put buying could be in regards to the data that we got at 11 o'clock in the morning today. That was consumer inflation expectations for the month of April, and they came in a lot hotter than expected. The forecast was 3.1%. That would have been an increase from last month's number of 3%. You actually came in at 3.3%. So 2 points higher than the estimate, 3 points higher than last month's reading. Now here is some of the news that is causing Tesla's stock to do very well today. Tesla's Shanghai Megapack factory has been granted a construction permit, according to the management committee of Lingang. Construction starts in May. Mass production will reportedly start in Q1 2025, and the factory will produce 10,000 megapacks per year. Wall Street really hasn't been paying too much attention to Tesla's energy business. Sure, it's the highest margin business, but it's not even close to competing with the overall size of the car business. But as more factories start to get rolled out, and as the transition continues away from fossil fuels that will run out in about 80 years, you're going to have to start paying more attention to Tesla's energy business. And this news today really puts energy in the spotlight. I think it's also fair to say that Tesla stock sold off big time last week, and really ever since that post-earnings rally from Tesla, when Tesla stock hit about $200, $199 and some change, you fell all the way down to the 160s again. I mean, the last 2 weeks really have been pretty red. So to get a sharp bounce back makes a lot of sense, and this is actually what I called for. I expected an early week rally for Tesla. Again, the news that we got over this weekend is probably helping Tesla stock as well. The Model Y, 1% financing, APY, there's a lot of people talking about going out and buying a Model Y. And from what I can tell, well, deliveries are probably going to be helped out quite a bit this quarter based on this discounted interest rate. If you take a look at Google Trends data, you will see search trend activity is exploding for the Model Y, but it's also having a positive impact to the Model 3. The Cybertruck's just going crazy. Okay, who knows what the hell's going on with the Cybertruck these days? The Cybertruck is at 80, which is insane. The Cybertruck is by far the most searched about Tesla product now over the past 12 months, which if you didn't think the Cybertruck was going to cause a halo effect, I mean, prior, you gotta start considering that at the bare minimum at this point. I mean, the Cybertruck, let me just say this again for those of you guys that didn't hear. The Cybertruck is the most searched about Tesla product in the last 12 months. You can see this here. The Cybertruck is at 26 as far as 12-month search trend activity. The Model Y at 23. The Model 3 at 22. The Model Y was the best-selling car last year. Best-selling vehicle last year, period. And the Cybertruck has more search trend activity than the Model Y. Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before you start to see a massive halo effect from the Cybertruck. But I think the markets are probably reacting favorably to this news about the Model Y APY 1% financing over this weekend. Model Y's search trend activity on Google jumped from 27 to 52 over this weekend. That means there's a lot more people now talking about the Model Y. And I would imagine this reduction of the interest rate, the buy down that Tesla is doing on this, is likely a lot more effective than Tesla cutting prices. Judging off of Google Trends data, it is probably 10 times as effective to driving more business for Tesla than actually cutting prices. You can also see the Model 3 is benefiting from this recent surge in search trend activity in Tesla, going from 21 to 25, even the Model S going from 10 to 12, and the Model X going from 9 to 10. So it seems like everything is benefiting from what Tesla did over this weekend. And this was the main reason why I thought Tesla stock would bounce early in this trading week before we get into your big economic data and even the speech from Fed Jerome Powell. But then you wake up to this news about a new Megapack factory and Tesla really outlining when they start, or at least want to start, mass production for 10,000 Megapacks per year, being in 2025, which is just next year. That's just icing on the cake that's causing Tesla stock to rally 2% today. Tesla China has also bought 2 plots of land associated with our upcoming Shanghai Megapack factory. It remains to be seen if they'll build a mega factory on one plot of the land and use the other plot for something else. A lot of people are speculating this is probably for something else, maybe for Tesla's next-gen compact vehicle, maybe just storage and a little bit more manufacturing capabilities. It's yet to be seen, but I'm sure we'll get new information in the next coming months. The first Tesla store and service center in New Hampshire is now under construction in Londonderry. The nearly 50,200 square foot building will contain offices, a sales area, and service bays. Typically, a company that is slowing down and, as the shorts would say, is dying, is not going to be doing this much investment into itself. This is about the clearest sign that you can get that Tesla still believes the future is very optimistic. You know, companies saying something is one thing, but companies actually doing something is different. Tesla is doing things that look like they're excited about the future of Tesla. Mercedes is reportedly no longer developing its electric platform MB.EA Large due to disappointing sales figures for current luxury EVs. The company wanted to electrify the new generation of its largest sedans and SUVs on this architecture. Singapore reported 105 Tesla sales and 3% market share for April, 96% of which were Model Y and 4% were Model 3. Slovenia reported 54 Tesla sales and 1.2% market share for April. Tesla Korea is continuing to deliver the Model 3 until the end of May, and then they will start delivering the Model Y in the second quarter of June. Biden is set to hike tariffs on China EVs and offer solar exclusions. Chinese EVs to face a 102.5% tariff, with other rates also set to jump. So for anyone that's been worried about Tesla's market share or just overall longevity in the US because of Chinese products, you really don't need to worry at all anymore. I mean, the current tariff is about 25%. That would be a quadruple. I mean, you're never going to see a Chinese EV over here in this country. We also have NIO's Lido L60 electric vehicle, which will debut on May 15th. The vehicle is said to benchmark the Tesla Model Y. It will also be priced around 10% less than Tesla's, and it's basically a knockoff Model Y. As per Bloomberg, Tesla has started rehiring some of its supercharging team. Max D. Zeger, director of charging for North America, is now back. Holmar's Catalog writes on X, which I have to say I agree with this post. How is Tesla still trading under $200? Given what we are seeing with FSD, people must still not realize what's going on. According to a new economic poll, The Fed is set to cut rates by 50 basis points in 2024. That is the consensus out of 108 economists. 65% of them say 50 basis points. 17 say over 50 basis points, and 1 says no cuts at all. Coca is also on track for its biggest loss in history. And if you guys don't know what's happened to coca prices recently, they have went crazy. Absolutely insane. The biggest contributors to inflation are commodity prices. So this is good news. Coca futures for July of 2024 are down over 20% today. Oil has also fallen quite a bit from the high of about $83.41 a barrel for USO, and now it's at about $76 a barrel, so that's pretty disinflationary also. It looks like Ross Gerber, for all the hating on Tesla, has now purchased a Cybertruck. He writes on X with this image of the Cybertruck and says, "My Cybertruck is working perfectly and is beautifully made without any issues. Knock on wood for me, with a VIN of 8,800. Considering Ross Gerber probably took delivery of his Cybertruck today, it's safe to say Tesla's probably produced over 9,000 Cybertrucks, which should put us on track to at least deliver the consensus view of about 25,000 Cybertrucks this year, with a bullish expectation or optimistic expectation of 35 to 50,000 Cybertrucks. Option activity in Tesla's stock is super bullish today, like very, very bullish. 86% positive. Now, again, a very low dollar amount. You have seen 13 orders from big money, totaling $5.7 million. And a lot of these bullish trades are 170, 175, or even 190 calls expiring in the month of May. This 190 call is expiring on June 21st. Tesla continues to have a multi-year high short position with short interest of free flow at 3.87%, $18.07 billion currently in short positions, with 107.23 million shares that are currently sold short. Here on the day today, cost to borrow fees are about 0.5%, so not a big deal there at all. It looks like some of the shorting pressures have started to abate today. You can see you have borrowed shares of 1.62 million, return shares of 1.63 million. That is a net short addition today of about 5,000 shares, which is basically nothing. That's pretty much just a neutral day. Global inventory numbers today are indicating a slight down move for the Model Y, going from about 7,300 down to about 7,000, a little bit lower than that. So a couple hundred reduction there in inventories. The Model 3 is rising to about 2,750. The Model X is hitting 2,600, and the Model S is at about 1,400. Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google today. Full self-driving Google Trends activity is picking up yet again today, now hitting 31. You did bottom recently at 27, so that is a slight up move considering most of the free trials are over with. Yes, there was some people that were on older updates, older software in the US that are just now getting the trial, but that's still a pretty good sign that the take rates are probably higher now than they were before. Over on StockTwits, sentiment mainly from retail investors. Let's be honest, I think it's safe to say hedge funds, institutions, big money, they're probably not getting on here and talking about stocks. So I'll go out on a limb and continue to believe that this is a sentiment for retail investors more than big money. And holy moly, Novax is crazy. On a totally separate note, I was going to buy some options on their earnings, but did not. If you guys want to come join the trading community, check out the link down below in the description of this video. That's insane. That stock's up another 40% today. After earnings, they were up over 100%. Nonetheless, sentiment for Tesla today is neutral at 50. Yesterday, it was bullish at 57, so sentiment going down a little bit today. Message volume is at 44, which is considered low. Yesterday, you were at 40, which was also considered low. So today is a little bit higher for the overall messages on StockTwits. And the participation ratio today is at 56, which is higher than where we were recently at about 54. CNN's Fear and Greed Index is chugging higher yet again. You are now at 50, which is neutral, like exactly neutral. This goes from 0 to 100. On Friday, you were at 47, so now you're up to 51. So now you're 4 points higher than Friday. I think this I guess doesn't set you up well heading into the catalyst throughout the rest of this week. Preferably, if you are bullish on markets, you would want to see stocks actually down today, so then you can rally after the catalyst coming tomorrow, which is Jerome Powell, and then CPI and retail sales. But maybe this week's just going to be a great week overall. I'm actually pretty bullish for this week. I think odds are CPI comes in at expectations or lower. I would be very shocked and concerned if it came in higher than expectations. We'll talk about expectations a little bit more in the next video. I do think Jerome Powell is going to be relatively dovish, maybe cautious on the economy coming tomorrow. That could get taken as a negative if he is too cautious on the economy. But in this market environment, it's probably going to be seen as good news. I think the biggest wild card is probably Walmart earnings on Thursday. If they warn about the consumer, that's going to be very problematic. So that's probably the thing that I am watching for in terms of a recession indicator or potential economic slowdown. Yeah, Novax is crazy. I was going to buy 20 of these $6 calls expiring this week for $5 before their earnings. Would have been $100 into, $645 a contract. Would have been $100 into 13,000. Now, you can't win them all, and we win our fair share. But that's why I love options. I love turning small amounts into large amounts of money. And I did put out a new analysis over on the Discord about a longer term trade that I just got into today. If you guys want to see that trade and come check it out, full in-depth breakdown. It was 6,500 characters in the trade that I typed out. So basically a full-on report. If you guys want to check it out, come join the community, come give it a whirl. Link down below in the description of this video. And that trade's actually working pretty well today. But again, that is a longer term trade, and I believe it could be a once in a decade kind of trade. But then again, I am not a financial advisor. I am subject to be wrong, and I am giving myself strict guidelines to follow. The percent of stocks today breaking above their 50-day moving average is about 3%. So 3% of stocks in the entirety of the markets today are breaking above their 50-day moving average. That's great. You're now sitting at 57% of stocks above the 50-day moving average. The 10 and 2-year yield curve inversion is pretty stable these days. Inverted about 37 basis points. When this starts to uninvert is when you're likely going to get some pain in markets, but that's not happening yet. And USO is flipping hard, only up 0.48%. At one point today, it was up over 1%, so that's great for inflationary pressures, and that's also great news for markets. If we take a look at, I don't know why I have two oil charts up. If you take a look at the dollar is down today, and that's a little bit of good news. It's only down about 0.13%, but I'll take that over the dollar being up. When the dollar goes up, stocks tend to go under pressure, especially your small caps and interest rate sensitive names. It's also pretty fair to say that Apple is having an outsized effect on our markets today. Apple is currently up almost 2%. If you take Apple out of the equation today, the markets would look a lot worse than they do. And you're actually seeing other big tech names like Amazon down about 1%, Google down 1.5%, and others like Meta that are down almost 2% as well. So it looks like there's definitely some kind of rotation out of big tech today into other areas of the markets that are more interest rate sensitive, maybe small cap in nature, or just beaten down. And that's another reason why Tesla stock is likely outperforming the way that it is today. It's still up 2%. Now, if you take a look at Tesla on a technical basis, on Friday, you closed above the 20-day moving average, and after hours, you actually fell under that to about 167.70 or so. So you were actually under your 20-day moving average. Today, you rallied up to a high of $175 and some change. You're still above that 50-day moving average, which currently sits at $171.21 per share. You want to watch that 50-day moving average. If you stay above that 50-day moving average throughout the day today, that is going to be great. Now, you can see the MACD is positive 1.21. The signal line is positive 1.06. So you still look good there. If you break under that blue line, if the MACD line, this yellow line, goes under the blue line, that does not look great for the short-term trajectory for Tesla. If you take a look at the RSI is at 49.65, which is basically still just neutral. So let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.